Oh, anyways, I had to break out the Thor hammer for this one, man. I had to.
Oh
It's right
snap!
here. I know. So this is a gift, by the way, from Jonathan a
It's so
while back.
lightweight. It looks so lightweight.
It
It must be
is.
because you're worthy, huh?
It's exactly. That's right. It's because I'm worthy. It's exactly what. Wow, I caught that, but it also hit my mug. Um, and the TV. So, anyways, welcome back to Just Visiting. It's Eric and Jonathan and Mjolnir, and today we are going to talk about. Oh man, I just remembered a part of the movie. That here boy. We are going to talk about spoiler review for Thor: Love and Thunder. Lore, I can't. I'm so angry. I'm so seething angry right
We
now.
should do
Um,
an Eric angry rant for this one,
yeah,
huh?
we should, man. We should. So Thor: Love and Thunder, the fourth movie directed by Taika Waititi, starring Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth, obviously, and Natalie Portman
And the
and
return of Natalie Portman.
Christian Bale and who else was in this movie? The guy who
We had a
played
brief
Zeus.
appearance from the Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe played.
Russell Crowe's in this movie. All this wonderful talent that it just you obviously know it's going to be a great movie. You know it's going to be a great movie. So anyways, before we get into spoilers, we'll do a quick spoiler-free review. Just very quick. We won't go into detail.
Yeah.
I'll start on the spoiler-free. I didn't enjoy this movie. This is another, unfortunately. I'm not trying to. I was telling all my friends this today. I was telling my wife and my sister and stuff. I was like, I'm not trying to be a hater. Okay, I'm not. But I'm worried I'm turning into one. But I don't think I am. I think I'm being objective. But this is, you can wait for Disney Plus for this one. It's not. You're not missing out on anything. It's not that great. And there are things I did like about the movie, which might shock people, but there were some things I liked about it. But man, like, this is a movie. If you liked Thor Ragnarok, you might like this one. You can go to the movie theater and see it maybe. Wait until there's, like, the showings are lower where there's not a lot of people there. You might like this movie if you liked if you liked the third one. If you genuinely like, I love Thor Ragnarok. That was the greatest movie for Thor, like best movie ever. Like, then you'll probably like the fourth one. Like, I'm not gonna lie,
Yes. If
you
you hated
probably
the
will.
first two, like if you hated the first two
Yeah,
and you love the third one, this is your movie.
yeah. This is definitely your movie. But the thing is, there's no room for uh there's no wiggle room in that. You have to be all in or not at all. Like, you have to be all in on that third one. Like, you have to be like, I love this movie. This was my movie. Then you'll like the fourth one. Because if you're like, the third one was okay, then you're probably not gonna like the fourth one. Like,
Yeah.
that's just kind of how it is. Like, you're probably not going to. So I'm gonna give it, out of 10. Ooh, out of 10, I'm gonna give it a 3 or a 4.
Oh
Probably a
wow.
3.5.
Might be a little bit harder than I thought. I thought you were gonna go
Now,
like two or something.
I didn't like this movie so much. I put a review on Rotten Tomatoes last night because I didn't like this.
You did?
I did 1.5 out of 5, baby. 1.5 out of 5.
You review
So,
bombed it. Oh, you're the problem, Eric. You're the
so
problem with
no,
Hollywood right now.
no, I gave honest thoughts. Review bombed it. I don't want to hear that garbage. Anyways, so yeah, not it. There's not a whole lot to say about the movie that I'm gonna give it a non-spoiler review. So that's my thoughts, Jonathan. What do you got?
uh, yeah. Once
Non-spoiler.
again, I am a little bit higher than Eric on this movie, but that doesn't mean I liked it. I didn't. I just
I don't
so
know.
my
We haven't. Wait, we should preface this. We haven't talked about this movie together at all.
yes, this is
So,
correct. This is
so,
correct. This is correct.
so you're gonna have to watch the movie to see if Jonathan's actually higher than me. Because what I find out is generally Jonathan's scores are higher, but then when I talk about what I liked, he's like, "No, I hated that. I hate it," and I'm like, "What?" So I don't know. I don't know.
Let me explain. Let
We'll
me
see.
explain. Let me explain. So I thought that this movie was going to be fun. That's what I was expecting when I walked
Mhm.
into the theater. I was like, if nothing else, this is gonna be a fun ride. Like, what's his name? Taki Wati
Taika
Wati.
Taika
Yes, yes,
Waititi. That's
yes.
what
That guy. If he's
Taika.
nothing else, he's fun. He's just like fun. Like he's just like
Yeah,
we're gonna tell the jokes.
yeah,
We're
man.
gonna have
Same
some
here.
laughs. It's gonna be bright. The colors are gonna be popping.
Hmm.
Everything's gonna look
Same
nice.
here. Same here.
But it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. It was kind of a slog to get through. Um, I thought the
Especially
first
that
15 to
first
20
half.
minutes, the 15 20, I like for the first 15 20 minutes, I was like feeling the groove of the movie. I'm like, yeah, we're going. And then like the rest of the movie was just like, when is this gonna be over? I'm done. Like I'm not having any fun with this movie.
Hmm.
Um, the music was nothing special. Uh,
Hmm.
it felt like I was watching an Iron Man movie for some reason because it kept like there's so many rock tracks. I was just like, what am I listening to? Um,
Yeah.
I didn't find any of the performances to be like anything special. I mean, Chris
Mm.
Hemsworth is just he's Thor, so I mean I guess that's nice. Natalie Portman, she wasn't given much, didn't do much. Absolutely hated Russell Crowe in this movie, as you can see from my name. I could not stand Russell Crowe in this movie.
I would agree with you that I would say there's so much going on in this movie. Most actors didn't have very much, except for
Yes.
Thor.
Yeah, except for Thor. Except for Thor.
Which I mean, he should have the most screen time, right? It's his movie,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Yeah. I did not like Christian Bale in this movie. Not his fault. Just didn't think he was given much to work with.
mhm.
Um, the plot didn't make a whole lot of sense, and it felt very, very lackluster.
Yeah.
Uh, and the main problem I have with this movie, and this is why my score is probably going to be low, is that it didn't. It wasn't about anything. The movie wasn't about anything. Like it wasn't trying to
Hmm.
teach you any kind of message. Like there was no like it didn't feel like we were learning about this character and growing with this character. It kind of was just like, well, here's some content for you. If you like content, here's content. So
Hmm.
this is the movie.
Hmm.
Um, you said three or four?
Yeah. So I'm probably if I'm being even with my Rotten Tomato score, it's probably a 3 out of 10 for me.
Okay, I'm gonna stick with four. I'm gonna stick with a four. 4.1.
Hmm.
I'll get a 4.1.
Hmm.
There were some things. There were some things. I'm not gonna say there's
See, the
nothing I like
thing
in this movie, but
the
it's
thing with
just like,
4 for me is it's awfully close to 5, and I'm like, ooh, no. There's some movies that are 5s that were better than this movie for me. So,
yeah, it's just like, so the movie to me was just like a meh. It was like meh.
yeah.
Like I didn't have big expectations going into this movie. I'm not a huge Thor fan in the first place. Uh,
But shouldn't that make it worse, right? Because you have low expectations, like because I did too. Like we talked about that on one of our last videos,
yeah,
and we both kind of had low expectations. Like I was like, I am kind of excited because I like the character, but I was like, to be honest, I haven't really liked any of the promotional stuff I've seen. Like I've kind of just been, it'll be
yeah.
okay. And it was actually it did not even meet those standards for me. So I was like, dang.
I'm trying to, but I'm comparing it to the other movies that I would put like under three, and it's nowhere near as bad as those movies. Like
Mm.
Avatar: Last Airbender, Dragon Ball Z, the
That's no,
live
it's totally
action
that's a different
movie,
scale for me. That's a
like,
different scale for me.
or even
But
like Morbius. Like it's not even as bad as Morbius. It just was like meh.
Morbius is
eh.
definitely on a scale of its own. Let's be honest.
Well,
It's more
okay, well,
it's
give me a
Morbin
movie
time.
like even Captain Marvel. Like, it's not even
Within
as bad as Captain Marvel, or like it's not as
No, it's
bad
not.
as
It's not. That's
like
why I
so
gave it a 3.
that's what I'm at four. You said you. I'm saying it's just like meh. It's like
Okay,
it's a
so
meh
if
movie. It's like
okay, I'm just saying if Captain Marvel is like a 1 or a 2, then this
yeah,
is like a 3 I'll give you a 4. I think a 4 is fine. I'm just saying like I have to compare it to other movies in the MCU. That's what I always do for my
yeah,
scale.
yeah.
So
That's
it's
fair.
like,
But is it
if it
is it is it worse than the Eternals? Like no, it's not worse than the Eternals. Like is it?
ooh, I might well, man, I only watched they're probably equal. They're probably
Oh
equal for
man,
me
oh man.
cuz I really didn't like Eternals at all. And I was going to say I had plot issues with both, but in my personal opinion, Thor this movie may have been worse because the plot was I what plot? Like what? Like I don't even know the ending. That didn't make any sense. Like I don't understand what's going on in this movie. Like I don't. I, I feel kind of stupid. I'm like, am I
Uh,
stupider for watching this? Am I? I just said stupider. I must be. Am I dumber for watching this movie? I don't
okay,
know.
but my point is that was not my reaction coming out of the theaters. It was just like, meh. I didn't have any fun watching this movie, but it wasn't like I wasn't like screaming out and screaming like this is terrible, like this is a horrible plot.
Mm.
Like I wasn't like, oh, whispering over to my wife, that's so dumb. Why would he do that? Like 100 times. I was just like,
Mm.
okay, well, I watched it. No, man, 4.
Would you watch it again?
No, no way.
Maybe that's what I do. You know, I put all my I'm never watching because a movie has to be pretty bad for me to never watch it again. Like
Yeah.
most even bad movies, like I'll watch again if there was something redeemable about it. And there's one thing I might rewatch this. No, I probably wouldn't. No, just never mind. I'm not gonna. I changed my mind. Anyways, well we'll get into it so we can talk specifics. But
Well,
spoiler warning.
also though,
Yeah,
wait, sorry, before you get into that, that's not a really
yeah,
big question for me though. When you ask me if I'm gonna watch it again, because you know I don't watch movies more than once. Like if I saw it once, I saw it. I really don't really watch movies more than once. Like I've seen The Winter Soldier
yeah.
like 2, maybe 3 times in my lifetime. Like I've seen Iron Man 1.
Mhm.
I've seen Avengers. I've seen the Avengers, the first Avengers movie that I love dearly. It's probably like the best Marvel movie ever to me.
Mhm.
Like I've seen that like 4 times, I think, total. Since
Mhm.
2012 is when it came out.
Yeah.
So I don't really watch movies over like that.
But that's true. But think about it this way: is it a movie you'd want to skip over if you were rewatching the MCU?
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, I
I
want
would.
to skip over it. Okay.
I would want to skip over it. Would I? Probably not. I don't know if I would. Well, the first time rewatching, I probably wouldn't skip any of them. But like, would I want to skip over it? Yeah, I think I'd
Okay,
probably.
that's fair. I would
You
probably
know.
want to skip over it just because I don't feel like it adds anything to the. It doesn't add anything to Thor, and it definitely doesn't add anything to the Marvel like cinematic universe. It didn't feel like anything was like by
Yeah.
the end of the story where I was like, oh man, something new happened that's gonna change like the next Avengers movie. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, okay, we're gonna get into spoilers, guys. So here's your spoiler warning. Ready? Just movie reviews. Woo. Okay, so that's the spoiler warning. So spoilers from here on out.
Spoilers coming
Um,
up.
spoilers. So let's talk about the beginning of this movie. So, um, my just like Morbius, my wife and I missed the first 5 minutes of this movie.
What is
Just
it with you guys?
no, listen. I had to bring this up because it was very frustrating. But it wasn't like it's so there's this movie theater. We go to for Morbius and this movie, we went to like the kind of like the ghetto movie theater in the area because it was cheaper. And there's a really good Groupon deal that we can get. So I was like, yeah, let's go do it. And so we were able to see it like almost opening night, like Friday night. That's pretty good. Um, and so I was gonna go get a seat because I didn't know how they don't reserve your seats here. It's just kind of you go in and find a seat. So I was gonna go find her seats, but my wife was like, "Well, can you like get us popcorn and stuff instead? I'm gonna use the bathroom." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Well, we get in there. The showing's at 10, and we get in there at like 10:05 or 10:06, 10:08 actually. Is what she's mouthing to me. So we get there. We go in at 10:08, and the movie's already started.
Oh snap! The
And
movie
I
starts
was
at 10.
like, apparently it starts right on the money at this movie theater, and we didn't realize that. So, which I didn't miss a whole lot. We actually saw the Marvel credits and everything. I saw Gore's. I'll just say this. So the thing I liked about this movie, is I loved Christian Bale's performance. I love his performance. It was great. Here's the problem: he's underused. They
Oh
don't give
yeah,
him like anything, and
yeah, nothing.
he's probably the best thing about the movie, in my opinion. He's probably the best thing about it. As far as how he acts, his villain's really creepy. I was like, I would love to see him again. When I saw the beginning, his origin is ripped right out of the comics. That's exactly what happens in the origin. Um, and man, just like when that god looks at him and is just like, we'll find other subjects, it doesn't matter. And you just like see him like Like, are you serious? I'm gonna freaking kill you. Like now because my daughter died for you.
Yeah.
Like you didn't help you. My daughter died because of you. You know, and then he goes and kills him. With the necro sword. I was like, that's awesome. That's so cool. Um, that's great. But again, I told my wife, I was like, how many scenes did we actually get with him where he wasn't fighting?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think we got three. I think we got three where he wasn't fighting, where he's actually like giving a performance, where he's acting.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Not very many scenes did we just didn't get him very much. So he's critically underused, especially
God.
for I know I'm not trying to like be like riding on that Christian Bale fan bus. I like Christian Bale a lot, truth be told, and he did a good job in this. But the problem is, one of the biggest problems in this movie is you have a lot of talented actors and actresses, and the movies just falls flat, and it's really sad, especially when you got Russell Crowe and Natalie Portman comes back, and Chris Hemsworth is a pretty decent actor. Christian Bale, like you have a lot of people, Matt Damon, like you have
Matt
all these
Damon.
you have all these people in here that are like pretty good actors and actresses,
Yeah.
and but your movie's just not good, and I don't know if it's because you're not sticking to the script or what. um but you're definitely not giving a lot of them enough time. So I was gonna have you start for the spoilers part, but I thought I'd jump right in apparently. So what did you think of the beginning? What did you think of Gore's like origin?
It was fine. I mean,
Hmm.
I did want more explanation to why he thought killing was the option was the answer, and
Hmm.
maybe I guess you could say the sword was like manipulating his mind. But I was
That seems
hoping
like
we
what they
were
went
going to,
with, yeah.
yeah, I was hoping we were going to get more from Christian Bale. Like you were saying, like I was just like at the towards the end of the movie, I was like, how much of Christian Bale did I actually see in this movie? And I felt like
Hmm.
we never got the big villain like, here's my plan, and let me tell you everything that I'm going to do,
Yeah,
whatever.
it was kind
But
of
we
like from the
really never,
beginning.
yeah, we never really got that moment, and I was hoping we are going to get a moment where was going to get to like actually, like you were saying, give a performance and tell us what was going through his head, why he
Hmm.
thought killing was the best option instead of like, let me
Hmm.
just go somewhere else and do something else or whatever.
Hmm.
Um,
Did he have a wife at the beginning of the movie?
I didn't see. I just saw him with his daughter. It's the only thing I saw. So
Okay.
no. Let me say no. No, he did not have a wife.
Okay, so if you guys want to know, I watched a couple videos about his origin. So in the comics, what happens, and Jonathan, they probably should have went more this route because it does give like a deeper understanding. Because this was something that I thought it was kind of crazy because when he's talking to that god, he seems like worshipful of the god. Like he's like, "Oh my gosh, I revere you so much." So the idea that he just like snaps all of a sudden
Yeah,
is kind of weird. Well, in the comics, Gore is already questionable of the gods. So like he's already like on this road of, you know, everybody around him, like he lives in a village and everybody around him is like, "Oh, like they're like we don't have any food," or we don't, he talks about his family, like his mother growing up, like we don't have any food, but the gods will protect us. We don't have this, but the gods love us, and the gods, we serve them, so they love us. And he's kind of like, I've seen so much tragedy growing up, like my belief is like I'm very doubtful. And
yeah.
then when he finally sees a god, basically that same thing happens. So
Oh,
his wife dies, then his child dies, and then when he sees two gods fighting, and they basically like destroy his planet. And then he's like, he talks to one of them, and they basically respond in that way. And then he's just like, I'm just gonna kill all of you because there's like
see, that would
you
make a
don't
lot more
care.
sense.
Yeah, that would have made a
That would
lot
make a
more
lot of
sense.
sense. Yeah.
So I and they kept adding. This is the other thing with this movie. I don't know what's going on with Marvel movies and TV shows. Exposition is like the when they're not ad libbing, it's exposition. Like that's what this movie is. It's ad libbing and exposition, and it's implication. The whole movie's a big implication. I don't know, what does it mean to you. It's like that's not what I want in my superhero movie. And the problem is they leave big plot points up to like an implication. Like they
Yeah.
leave a big plot point up to, well, that's kind of implied. like the necro sword, like all of a sudden the god goes, oh, that's the necro sword, and like somebody later on goes, the necro sword, like it can control your mind and all this stuff, and it was just kind of like, okay, like I don't know, like it was just kind of like, by the way, this happens, and it's like, why don't we spend time building up what the necro sword is, like how it was made, and then like, and then we build up like, the villain a little bit more, and then we see him seeking it out and he finds it, like I don't know, it just.
Yeah, I didn't get. So the first guy who tries to kill the god dies because it doesn't work or something like that. But then the Necrosword immediately helps him and Gore kills him. So I was like,
Mhm,
wait, what's the difference? How come the first guy didn't work with the Necrosword, but
I
this
don't know.
guy does work with the Necros? Like, why is what's the difference between these two guys? Because he
Yeah,
just straight up like stabs him and it's just like it's over, it's done. Like it's not
also
even a
the guy
conversation.
doesn't seem very scared of the necro sword lying there, he knows has the power to kill a god, like he knows it does, and it's just kind of
I,
sitting there
yeah, he's just
you
like,
know and that was another problem I had with this movie, was like nobody really seemed there's nothing pushing the movie forward. The pace is really like slow, like
yeah,
there ever like Thor doesn't really seem that worried about all the gods dying. Like
no,
there's a
no,
there's a
no,
couple
yeah.
moments, but like man, he's just like making jokes and he's just laughing along and he's just living life. He's the kids are in the cave and he's just kind of like ha, 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 like
Classic Thor story.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like team kids in a cave, and then he leaves, and it's just like, wow, that's so depressing. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like that's the guy that's gonna save you. Um, it was just so like, man, like and uh, basically for me, after the gore, whenever Christian Bale came on and was talking and giving like an actual performance, I was my attention went back to the screen, and a lot of times I caught myself with my mouth open because I was just like so interested in him. But then it would be ended and then something else would happen and I was just kind of like, okay. Um and I wasn't really here for Christian Bale, to be honest. I was more so here to see I was kind of more interested in Natalie Portman's story, to be
Yeah.
honest. But anyways, so for me, the movie, it after Gore's origin, the movie drastically slowed down for me. And there's immediate like Avatar the Last Airbender, the movie exposition that just happens. And they try to make it silly and fun
Yeah, they
and all
try to
this
get
different
Korg
stuff.
to kind of what voice over it.
Yeah, and sometimes he's narrating to kids, and then there's sometimes where he's narrating to no one, and then all of a sudden it's like you, the audience. I didn't understand. Um, and here's the thing: is the excuses for what's happening are all like every excuse that you could make for this movie, in my opinion. Now I haven't thought through every excuse, but it seems like every excuse for the movie is based upon an implication. So it's like Korg's talking to kids so like if you were to rebut me and be like, well, Korg was talking to the kids at the beginning, so obviously he's still telling a story, and it's like, no, but then he was at all these events in real time, and then he's narrating again to no one. Like we don't see the kids again. Are we just supposed to assume he's still talking to the kids and telling a story because he starts the story the same way,
Yeah.
and they don't show him? So what I mean is like they're not really showing what's going on. They're just kind of like, oh, we can do that off screen. We can. I don't know. I just felt like there was so much of this movie left at the cutting room floor too. Like it didn't feel cohesive. Like it
That's
just
true.
felt like cut, 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 cut. Um, but
So
yeah, the
what'd you
first
think about Thor with the Guardians of the Galaxy?
I didn't like it. I thought I would like it. I was actually kind of excited for that part. The Guardians to me didn't seem like the Guardians. They
Can I
felt
ask you a
like,
question?
yeah.
Uh what happened to Gamora? Because at the end of Endgame, she comes
Mhm.
back because she traveled in time with Thanos, I thought. And so I thought she was now in their time period.
She is. So at the end of Endgame, Quill is on a journey to find her
He, oh, okay.
because
I
she
remember that.
left because she
Oh.
doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember her
Yeah.
like kicking him and stuff like that. But she
Mhm.
knew who Nebula. She knew Nebula, right?
She did. Yes.
So why wouldn't she just stay? Because Nebula was there.
I would have to watch Endgame again. All I know is that she left, but I think that happened off screen
Okay.
because he says that he's gonna go find. Like he basically says at some point, I believe he says it that he's gonna go find Gamora, or that we have to find Gamora, and that's kind of like what he's set off to do.
Okay, so that's supposed to be like
So
the third movie, Guardians of
yeah,
the Galaxy 3.
probably.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was like sitting there, it's like, where's Gamora at? I haven't seen Gamora at all.
yeah,
Then my wife was like,
um,
she died. Remember? I was like, no, no, no. She came back to life because they traveled
yeah,
in time.
yeah,
But
and
anyway,
she should be in the same time period. Yeah, I don't, and there's maybe they'll do something with the TVA, or maybe the TVA won't matter. Like it doesn't matter. Like she's a variant out of her time.
well, they were
It's
supposed to
fine.
do that, Eric. Don't you know? The Avengers were supposed to mess with time. That's the part of the
That's
timeline. But
yeah.
remember, though, the TVA doesn't exist anymore, or maybe it does. But he
I
killed the
don't
guy.
know, man.
Okay.
Oh man.
Hi, Jinx.
All right. Well, just so I thought the first half of the movie, before I move forward into other stuff in the movie, the first half of the movie was extremely slow for me. Like I've never checked my phone that many times in a Marvel movie. Like I was like I was ready to leave. Like I was like, man, this is boring. Like I don't really nothing was there was nothing keeping my attention to the screen. And I don't need
Mhm.
explosions. I don't need all that because guess what? That was there. The plot wasn't interesting. Like I was just kind of like because I would pay attention to parts of the story and then the reason was really stupid. Like anyways, so you go ahead before I get right.
Yeah, no, I agree with lot. Like after we got through with the gore scene,
Hmm.
I was kind of feeling the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I was trying to get into the like laugh because this is supposed to be funny. They're obviously telling a joke here. Korg's kind of being a little funny with his narrating of
Cool.
the
Yeah.
with his narrating
Avatama.
of the
Yeah.
events.
Hmm.
um, and we got a couple of little Guardian of the Galaxy moments, and I was like, okay, that's a little funny there. I'm feeling you a little bit. Um, but then I started feeling it. Like it was starting to be too much. Like him destroying the
Hmm.
temple, I was like, it feels a little bit like too much. Okay, I feel like
Yeah.
we might have crossed the line there.
Hmm.
And the people were just like, okay, thank you. And then they gave him
Hmm.
the goats, and I was like, oh, funny. The goats are hilarious. That's gonna be funny. And then it was like again and again. I was like, okay, this is annoying
Ah!
now.
Ah!
Headphone
Yeah.
warning. Headphone warning.
Sorry, I apologize. I apologize. We'll turn that down in post.
No, I thought it like from the Guardians of the Galaxy scene. I started feeling like okay, this is beginning to be too much, like too
Hmm.
many jokes on top of like the
Hmm.
serious moments that should have come, but they aren't there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, after the Guardians of the Galaxy scene is when I felt like the movie like started crawling for me, where I was just like, okay, event happened, event happened, event happened, event happened, but I never felt like I was given a reason to care. Like to be honest with you, I didn't care for Natalie Portman. Like I didn't care about her character at all. And so like
Hmm.
when she was diagnosed with cancer, I knew I was supposed to care because she had cancer. It's like you should care about everybody who has cancer, but I didn't really feel anything for her character. I don't know.
Well, the other thing is you don't go through the process of her getting news that she has cancer. She just has cancer.
Yeah,
So
that's
right,
true.
like that's the emotional part is like, whoa, she has the realization that she has cancer. She never has that. You
Yeah,
just find out
we
she has
just
cancer, like, oh, she's
yeah.
dying. You know.
She seems to be taking it great. She's kind of taking it in strides, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah. Also, it was like, why did Jane become Thor? Why was she worthy? They ever tell you? They did. It was a throwaway
Eric,
line.
are you trying to accuse her of being a Mary Sue? Because I
Stop.
would agree with you. I would totally agree with you. I kept thinking, I was like, there is no way they're gonna go this entire movie without explaining to us why she is worthy of the
Yeah,
hammer.
they are. Yeah, they are.
There is no way because they know that we are going to say she's a Mary Sue because she was never told. We were never told why she was worthy. They
Hmm.
know this is going to be the criticism of this character if they don't explain it to us. There is no way
Hmm.
we're going to go this whole movie without us finding out why she is worthy.
It's because he told Mjolnir to watch
to
over her.
watch her. Who is he? He's not Odin. What is this? He's not the All Father. What is that?
Nah, we just magic. It's magic, you know. Also, they give the weapons Mjolnir and this is kind of a petty point. But the thing is, they use the joke as a plot point. They use the joke as a way to get something that's supposed to be a joke
Yeah,
becomes like a plot point of the thing. So what I mean is they give Mjolnir and Stormbreaker personalities. Like they
yeah.
give
They
them
actually become
personalities
like
yeah,
awareness and stuff
they're
like that.
personas. Like they're kind of like Stormbreaker comes around the corner, he's like, "Are you talking about
Yeah,
me?"
like slowly
And
drifting into the scene
yeah, and now I found that funny. Like I found it funny, but I
at
was
the
just
beginning. Yeah,
yeah, but in the background, this is the back of my mind going, you know, they've never been alive.
yeah,
They've been enchanted. The only
yes,
time we've ever seen someone talk to the weapon is when Odin does it. Now, like out of all the Thor movies, the only time we've ever seen someone talk to the weapon is when Odin enchants it by saying, whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
yeah.
Right? Um, and then he throws it. He throws it. Right? So it's like they've never been alive. They've never been like alive, right? So
Yeah,
for Thor to just be like, "Hey, watch over her." That's not an enchantment. He's just
yeah.
talking to it. And if it is an enchantment, like where he's actually there should be some sort of magical effect
Or
that they
yeah.
show take place. There needs to be something,
I felt like
right?
there was like maybe like the little beep thing showed up in the
No, that was
movie.
already that's been on there.
Okay.
That's been on there since the first Thor movie. That you talking about the try like the
Yeah,
Trinity
I thought
thing?
it lit up in the movie. I thought maybe like lit up or something like that when he spoke to it.
Maybe it did. Maybe it did. If it did, then that's fine. But still, you know,
I didn't think Thor had that kind of power though. I thought that was
that's
because he was the
that
All
was
Father and he created the hammer. He was the one who could enchant it.
that was my next point. Was that something they've never addressed since Odin died? Was that Thor has the Odin Force. Sorry,
Yeah.
that he has the Odin Force. They've never addressed that since the third movie. Like they've literally been like he just so like in the third movie he can just they never explain this ever, but he can randomly call lightning down and like punch with lightning with his fists and his eyes glow. So it's
Yeah.
like I don't know
Yeah.
why he needs a weapon if he's the weapon.
Yeah.
But they never say what that is. They've never said that. It's just like his dad dies, he's more powerful. And so they're like, well, the implication would be that, somebody's and it's like, no, I'm not stupid. I get that there's implication, but that's too big of a plot point to rely on an implication that you're gonna be like, oh well no, he's kind of powerful. Well, what are his like limits? Where did he get this from? It doesn't matter.
Implication.
Implication is maybe he got it from his father, or maybe that was just the other assumption could be maybe that was just a really emotional moment and it tapped into a deeper power that he had you know
Yeah.
like it's like and it's like if you know the comics, you know that it's like the Odin Force, but I believe the only time he gets the Odin Force is if he accepts being king. So it's like if he accepts being king, then he gets all the power that the Allfather had because he's the new Odin, he's the new Allfather.
Yeah.
But he didn't accept that. So then
Yeah.
he's never had this power before? Why can he it doesn't make any sense, Jonathan. It
Also,
doesn't.
protect her and give her the powers of Thor. Aren't those like two separate clauses
Well,
that we're talking about here?
Mjolnir can think for himself,
Oh, okay, okay. So when you
so
say protect her, what you really meant
or
was
they
give her your
self.
powers.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's another question I had. I thought Mjolnir was back because Thor travels in time, and he sticks on his hand, says, "Yes, I'm still worthy." He brings it back in time with him. Captain America uses it. So I thought Mjolnir was restored. So
Mm-mm.
why was
No, no. Captain America took it back in time.
Oh, okay, yes, 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 okay. He did in Endgame. I remember that. I do
Hmm.
remember that scene. Okay, okay, okay. That makes sense. But here's my other question: why then wasn't Thor able to pick Mjolnir back up if it could be reassembled? without him like having to find all the pieces.
I guess he never tried. That's what we're supposed to assume. Because he could pick it up later. Remember, he picks it
Yes,
up. He's
yes, he
like, just
does.
checking. It's like,
Just
oh,
check
he's
it. Yeah,
still worthy. So why didn't he call it and pick it up?
and if it has a personality where it like has some sort of ability to hear
Hmm.
and understand, why wouldn't it just come to him in the battle against Thanos? Because he was in danger.
I don't know.
Okay, I got lots of plot hole questions. I got lots of plot hole questions.
There's a lot of, again, and I'm gonna tell you guys this. This is the worst Thor movie. This is the worst Thor movie. Jonathan, I
It's
was
worse
listening
than
to it.
Thor 2?
Yes, yes, yes. It's worse than Thor 2. Come on, man. Come on. You gotta agree on that. It's worse than Thor 2.
Uh,
Oh man. I mean, I'll watch Thor 2 again just to prove the point, but like the story was better in Thor 2. It was at least manageable. There were at least moments where I cared, Jonathan, where I thought Loki was dead. I cared.
can I say I
Yeah.
I loved uh Matt Damon's performances. I love watching Matt Damon in these
Oh, I
Marvel movies.
I hated that Melissa McCarthy was in this movie. I was
Oh,
like,
really? I
"Ah,
loved it. I was like, "Yeah, let's go."
I can't stand Melissa McCarthy. I've never enjoyed her performance in anything I've ever watched. I find her comedy really like boring. So I was like, oh no, it's like if they threw Amy Schumer in there. I would have been like, ah, Amy Schumer. Like so. But I mean, it was fine. She didn't do anything.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I thought it was funny that Matt Damon showed up again. That
Yeah.
was the part that was
He's
kind of
he's a
funny.
he's an Asgardian, which I didn't know. I thought he was just, like, brought to Asgard by
Hmm.
Loki, but he
But
actually is an Asgardian.
yeah, as a traditional Thor fan, like someone who likes, that's what we're called now. I'm gonna say a traditionalist, but
Maybe a
um,
conservative a conservative.
someone who liked Thor 1 and 2. It just reminded me in Ragnarok when they did that to that scene, and I was like, you ruined it. Anyways, um, but no, I thought that was funny. That was pretty funny. But yeah, I agree with you on the tower. By the way, to go back just a smidge, um, where he destroyed the tower, I was like, with when he saved everybody, I was like, that doesn't seem funny. It's not really
Yeah,
hitting me.
yeah,
And that's really one of the biggest problems in this movie is not only the plot but the humor is it's not funny because it's so overbearing. It's just
yes.
like constantly laugh. They like want you to laugh at every little thing, and it's just I don't. Did they laugh very much in your theater?
I will say I went to a smaller theater, so I didn't have a big crowd around me. I don't even
Hmm.
know if my theater was completely full when I went to watch it, but it was, like, maybe 20 people in there or so, and
Well,
it wasn't a
honestly,
lot
this
laughing.
movie's. I don't believe this movie's doing very good for a Marvel movie.
Probably not. Probably
I
not.
don't think it
Can I
is.
say I absolutely hated his outfit. His
Oh, I did
when he
too.
like put on the helmet and everything, I absolutely hated
Oh
it.
yeah,
That was the worst Thor outfit I've ever seen in my entire
yes,
life. I've never seen a
yeah,
Thor outfit that bad. It was just
yeah.
so blue. What was the blue for? It was
I
so
hate it.
blue.
My favorite color is blue, and I hated it. I hated it. I didn't like it.
Oh,
Um,
it didn't
I
even
actually
grow on me. I thought it was gonna
I
grow on me,
preferred
but it
I
didn't.
preferred Natalie Portman's to his.
Yes, yes, hers looks so much better than his. Even her
Yeah,
mask looked better
yeah,
than his.
yeah. I hated his. Yeah, it was bad. Um, what else was I gonna say? Yeah, the humor is just really overbearing. In my movie theater, um, I would say it was probably like 60% full. So like
Mhm.
it was fairly full. A lot of kids with their a lot of parents with their kids
Oh, no.
watching it. I know the butt scene.
I don't know if
Uh,
this was a 4 kids movie.
oh, I don't
It
know if
cussed
it was
cussed
either,
a couple
man.
times. There's a couple of sexual innuendos. Then there
Yeah,
was a naked scene, obviously.
yeah. The naked scene was kind of a yeah,
That was way too much. Come on. And it was so long. It was, like, so long of a scene.
yeah. Also, when they first show, I picked this up immediately in the movie theater. When his robe first gets flicked off, his back has no tattoos on it. But then they zoom in and his back has tattoos, and I was like, well, like that wasn't added with CGI later. Like, you know what I mean? Like you could tell somebody missed what they were supposed to do. Cause I was like, There's no tattoos on his thing. Um, but what I was gonna say was like, for all the jokes that are in this movie, my theater was silent.
Oh
There
man.
was there was not very much laughing going on. The kids laughed with the goats. Whenever the goats like, oh, they yelled. My wife thought that was really funny. She laughed a lot. Um, but other than other than that, like there really wasn't that much. There was one guy who kind of laughed occasionally, but it was the laughter was very minimum. I probably laughed like maybe 4 times the whole movie.
Yeah,
And
man.
with all the jokes going on constantly, like I was kind of surprised how much I didn't laugh. Because I laughed way more in Thor Ragnarok. I
Yeah, yeah,
laughed a lot in Thor Ragnarok, and I didn't like that movie from a Thor perspective, like for the character. But I think Thor Ragnarok was a much better movie than this.
oh yeah, yeah, I
Like it
agree with that.
was, I mean, plot wise, story wise, it was a better movie. It was definitely a better movie.
Yeah.
Um, what did
It
you
just
think?
it it just
Go
it
ahead.
just felt like, Taiki Waititi, it just felt like he didn't know what to do with the character anymore 'cause,
Hmm.
we've seen Thor go through so much, especially with Endgame. I feel like that was the climax moment of Thor's career and his life,
Hmm.
was, like,
Hmm.
losing his brother finally, like, for real losing his brother, going through the fat stage, the depression,
Hmm.
all that kinda stuff.
Hmm.
And then, like, being worthy, still finding out he's still worthy, having that conversation with his mom, then fighting Thanos for real.
Hmm.
I thought that was, like, the culmination of his MCU career was, like, that moment. Um,
Hmm.
so it kinda felt like Marvel was like, "What do we do with him now?" They're like,
Yeah.
"Well, we
Well, there's an
could just
easy. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Where you
we could just he could just rediscover himself again." It's like, "Again?
And he didn't do that in
I
this
thought
movie
we" yeah,
either.
that's the thing. Yeah, yeah. And he doesn't even do that in this movie.
No.
Because you can tell there's no real holes for this character. Like, this character doesn't really have visible holes that you can see. Um, they
Hmm.
tried to make some, but even those fell short. So it's like,
Hmm. Um, man, there's so much to talk about this movie. I'm worried this video is going to go so long.
"Oh, it's fine.
Um,
It's
okay,
fine.
we'll just
It's
make it.
fine. It is
We'll
what
be
it
good.
is."
So if guys, I'm sorry if this video is kind of long. Just thanks for hanging on with us in the long haul. Uh, man, yeah. The other thing with this movie is, I think we'll talk. I'll talk about what they could have done with the story later. I'll address everything. So many random things in the story. That just and I feel like critics who are giving it a good score are not being fair to this movie. They're just not. Like I'm a firm believer in Disney will buy critic approval.
Oh, dang.
um, I do believe they do that. I do believe that they schmooze people to come in and, hey, come to the come to Walt Disney World and come ride our rides and come to, like, I definitely once I kind of had my eyes open to that, I was like, yeah, I could see that because they own so much.
Yeah.
They own so much. There's no way they can't bribe some people. Um, and
You make it
I
sound
mean,
so illegal.
yeah, I know it sounds so bad, right? It's not illegal. It's just kind of
No,
that's what
yeah,
they're
no, it's
doing,
not.
right? To get people. That's just business. They're
Well,
trying to
yeah,
get a good
it
score.
could just even be like internal conflict because you're like, if I give this movie a bad score, I might lose my access. You
That's
know,
the thing. Yeah, that's the
so
thing, right? I might not be able to go to the next premiere.
yeah, or meet
Um,
Chris Hemsworth, or interview
yeah,
Natalie Portman next time.
yeah. So the it- okay, so one of the things that just came out of nowhere, and again, it was just met with a lot of exposition. Is oh my gosh, it's Heimdall's son. It's like he has a he has a son. It's like, and my name is
When?
Axel now. It's like, what? Why is your name Axel? Because I like the name Axel, so you better call me by
Rose and
Axel.
Guns. I like Rose and Guns.
Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, sorry. Guns N' I'm
it's
not a
it's
rock
all
guy.
right.
I've never been a rock guy.
You don't look
If
like
you
one.
if
It's
you
fine.
if you ask me to like tell you the difference between AC/DC and Guns N' Roses, I could not tell you the difference. That's why I thought I was listening to like a Iron Man movie because I was like,
Yeah,
it feels so like rock and roll AC/DC kind of vibe.
I thought it was a little bit too much, but I mean, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate that vibe,
Yeah.
but yeah, he comes out of nowhere. Kid just randomly, like literally picked up. We've never. how could Heimdall be in a relationship? He's stuck at the bridge in
Yeah,
all
he has
three
to watch
movies.
everything. Yeah.
He can't have a life. That's the whole point of his character. But apparently he has a son who has the same powers as him. And I don't understand, John. I don't understand. Like they're like and they're just like he this is I don't know. I just didn't understand what was going on there. I was like, why did he come? And this stuff happens a lot in this movie. Like it's just like this happened. Why? Well, you're not supposed to ask that question. You're just supposed to watch the movie and be like, wow, superheroes, explosions. Like,
No, you're
um,
supposed to laugh, Eric. Okay. Heimdall
they
has a
also
son. Joke time. It's like, no, laugh, Eric. Shut up. Don't ask the question. Laugh. Oh, you didn't like
they
that joke? Well, here's another one. You didn't like that joke? Here's another one. You won't like one of these jokes. Here's another joke. It's like, you like Thor Ragnarok because it was funny? Well, here's all the funny you can handle. Like that's what this movie felt like. It felt like they were like,
yeah.
oh, everyone loved Thor because he was so funny and so jokey. Let's just turn that up to 11.
Oh man, and he's the butt of everyone's jokes,
Oh
man.
yeah.
He is the. They make fun of him so much. I hated that. I'll be honest. This is how I felt, and I haven't really said this to too many people, but they kind of destroyed this character by the end of the movie,
Mm.
in my opinion. He's not Thor. Like he's Chris Hemsworth in a blonde wig. That's what he is. Like he's not Thor at all. And the reason I say that is because he's shown to be an idiot most of the movie. Like
Yeah.
he's just really stupid. So many things in the movie don't make sense for his character. Whenever he gives a speech, he just, except for towards like the middle end, he's like bumbling through it, making jokes, being super awkward. Um, I'm sorry, but like in the first two movies, like he's trained as a warrior. He's with other warriors. Like he's known to be the leader of the warrior. He actually gives a rousing speech in the first movie. Like, and he's like, telling all these people like what's so great about them. Like we will storm the gates of Jotunheim and gather back our, and everything. And it's like, yeah, that's who he is. He's always been that guy. He's not this dude who's just like, I don't know what to say here. I don't know what to tell you. It's like that's not him. And
Yeah,
he's
and just laughing everything off like everything's a joke. Everything's a big joke.
yeah. And then also like there's so many times where you kind of question him in battle as well. I'm trying to remember what moment it was that made me think that, but um, anyways, he would have been. I mean, they even say this as a kid, like he's been born for the throne. So like he's been trained in battle strategy. Like he
Mhm.
knows how to be strategic in battle, and he knows how to control an army. He knows how to rule. Like he's taught that as a kid. And so many times in this movie you just don't feel that way. And then there's times where they give him good scenes, like we talked about earlier on, where he's giving the speech in uh wherever that's at in
New Asgard.
Asgard.
New Asgard.
Yeah, New Asgard. Sorry, gotta emphasize that new. Where he's there and he's just like, quiet, Asgard, I'm talking, and then he gives a whole speech or whatever, and it's just like, yeah, he should be king. Why isn't he king? Like everybody would listen to him, and I
Yeah,
don't
when he
really
shows
see.
up, everyone's like, "Yeah, let's go!" And they're like fighting
Mhm,
harder and stuff like that.
mhm.
I mean, they do the same thing when Jane arrives, but
They don't do that when Valkyrie arrives.
no, they did not do that with Valkyrie. She didn't even
They're
seem like she
like,
liked being king, which was the weird thing. I thought she'd be like more like, "No, like I love this thing, like this is my job," and she's like, "No, I want to be a warrior. I want to die in battle. Like I'm ready to go to
yeah.
Valhalla."
I
Seemed
hated
like she
what they
was.
did to I hated what they did to Asgard in this movie. It was so uninteresting. It was so earthly. It was so earthly. Like
Yeah,
honestly, like it was kind of like, wow, I could probably go find a place like this. Like,
it's tourist
and
trap. It's tourist trap.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it
it became a
was
tourist trap.
so everything special about it was taken away.
Hmm.
Just like our main character Thor. So in this movie, uh, what? So something I liked. Oh, did you feel like the Jane Thor relationship felt super forced?
Like did I
Them
feel like
getting
they had
back to Yeah,
chemistry?
like them getting back together.
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. I'll say a little bit. I could say a little bit.
Because like I felt like they never questioned. There's another horrible scene is where they just kind of make up why they broke up. I thought it was bad because they just kind of run through it real quick. They're just like, and Korg just automatically narrates to nobody. And he's like, well, like Jane and Thor, like they were together at one time, but then, he would leave and she was like, you're never here. So then she left. And it's like, they never worry about that ever happening again
Again,
in the
yeah.
movie. They just kind of get over it.
Well, the implication, Eric, is that Thor never truly gave his heart over to her, and this time he did. He was
Mhm.
ready to have the babies and, settle down because he's no longer a
Oh,
warrior. That's the implication.
it
Implied.
is? I didn't catch that implication. But the thing is, here's the thing: is like at the end of the movie when he's like, "I'm gonna go without you, Jane," and she's like, "No, I want to go with you," and he's like, "No, like you need to. If there's a chance for you to get better, you need to stay here and get better."
Yeah.
He's leaving her again.
Again, yeah.
Why wouldn't there be some retaliation on her part of this is what happened when we were dating, so I'm
Mhm.
coming with you. I don't want you leaving me again. Like that's the same scenario, but no, she's just like, it's probably the one time where I would be like, yeah, like she should probably say something to him because it makes sense. It makes sense in that scenario of what happened in their relationship that she would retaliate back instead of coming later to
Yeah.
save him. Um man. So I didn't like the relationship stuff. I like Natalie Portman. I thought she acted okay. She just wasn't given much for her character. Um there's no reason for me to believe that she is supposed to be Thor.
Yeah, I still don't understand the worthy thing. Like, even, like, if you were to tell me what the implication was, like, maybe because Thor told Mjolnir to protect her, that
Mm,
when it realized how does Mjolnir realize she has cancer in the first place and call out to her?
hmm
Also, like, her the calling out was, like, her looking over to a section of books that were about Asgard, and
that
her
she just so
picking
happened to
yeah,
have.
she picks the first book up and opens immediately straight to Mjolnir and reads the exact line that she needs, "Great health," and it's just like, well, obviously, I gotta go and get Mjolnir. That's the obvious thing to do, and it's
Well,
like
it's implied that she flipped through a few pages, Jonathan. It's
yeah,
implied.
a few pages of the script is what she did. The script was telling her, "Well, you need to go get Mjolnir." So, do we really wanna think this through of how you get to Mjolnir, or do we just, like, just go get
hmm
it? Just
hmm
go. Just go and get it. And she in front of security and everything, she just like and she just grabs it, and it's like, "Oh, okay, so it's that
hmm
easy to just steal Mjolnir? Just you can just
hmm
take it in front of everybody?" And everyone's
Yeah,
immediately like, "She's Thor?" Like, that's how easy it is?
she's the mighty Thor.
Yes, sorry, the mighty Thor. And no one questions it. No one questions, like, "Are you
No
supposed
one.
to be Thor? Or is it
Yeah.
okay that you're Thor? Like, should we call Thor and let him know that someone has his hammer? His hammer is back to life again?" Like, none of that works?
How come he never tried that if he knew the hammer was there?
That's what I kept wondering. Like, if he
Yeah,
knows the
because
hammer like, if the hammer can come back together, why would he bring it back together?
I don't know.
I
Like
did like the power
he
split.
know he. Yes, I liked how it split apart.
Yes, and
It
she can
was an
split it apart and hit
it
different
was an
pieces of
Iron Man ripoff, but it was was it not? Was it not an Iron Man ripoff from the third Iron Man?
Yeah.
You know it was. Come on. Man, Iron Man 3, best movie ever. It's better than this movie. Um I did like I'm like one of the few people that I know that like actually enjoyed Iron Man 3. Um so another scene I did like, so I actually liked the scene where they go to the shadow planet.
Mhm.
That aesthetic was really cool. I liked how everything became really like dark, and the only thing that really lit up was like their weapons, and then also the eyes of Gore. That was kind of cool. I liked seeing that. I actually thought that was going to be the end of the movie. I was surprised it wasn't. Um, and I thought that was a decent like fight scene too. The fight scenes in this movie aren't very good. Everything's everything has that Dark Knight, fighting off screen thing, like it was all like, you just didn't see much. You just kind of saw him hitting people. It all, it was all close up shots. So you
Mhm.
didn't really see anybody doing
The
anything. crazy cool.
Before we get to Shadow Planet, can we rewind just a little bit and talk about the Palace
Hmm.
of the Gods?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yes, go ahead, Jonathan.
Yes.
I want to hear your point of contention
That's
on this.
I absolutely cannot stand Zeus. I hated his accent. I don't know what accent he Russell Crowe was trying to pull
Greek.
off. It was
Trying to
not
be
Greek.
Greek.
That was not Greek. That was such a terrible accent. That was probably the worst thing I've ever seen Russell Crowe do in my entire life. Like, and
I
I've
would.
seen him in
I
Noah.
would.
Okay, and that was horrible. Noah
Hey,
wasn't bad.
both
Noah wasn't
movies had
bad.
rock monsters. Maybe that's what drew him to the role.
But I absolutely, and I'm not sure if he was supposed to be that annoying or if he was
Mhm.
supposed to be his lines were supposed to be that cringy, but
I
everything he said was just
yeah.
bad. I was just like, that
It was
is
hard to understand. I had
yeah,
a hard time understanding what he was saying.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But not just that, I hated his character's involvement in the plot was just beyond stupid. The fact that Thor could so easily kill Zeus was just astounding to me. He
Hmm.
It was like it was literally like taking out the trash. He just like bam, Zeus is dead. And I was like,
Hmm.
he killed Zeus, the god of gods, the wisest of all gods. He killed
Hmm.
him. Like,
The Zeus, yeah.
yes, think about someone killing Odin that quickly. Like some lower level god killing Odin that quickly. Like that's
Hmm.
just insane to think. And he just
Yeah.
could like bam, Zeus is dead.
Hmm.
I was just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, I was very surprised by that, but I could tell that they didn't have any respect for Zeus. Like they just didn't. They made him act super flamboyant and girly, especially when he walked down the steps and he flared his little
It's just like, yeah.
dress out. I was like, what in the
My wife
what
was
in
there was like, what a cute dress.
I was like, what in the gay? I didn't what is this? Um Also they talked about orgies in this and I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
there's
I thought it
kids
was
in
a
this
kids
thing.
movie. Yeah,
Yeah, you can't be come on now.
you're not invited to
Um
the orgy.
yeah, my wife was like, orgy? And I was like, yeah, he said that earlier. I was like, okay. Um yeah, I didn't like Russell Crowe in this. Russell Crowe is someone who can make, he was the gladiator, right? Like
Yeah,
he's somebody who has proven that he can be feared or intimidated by. He can intimidate people, and they just decided not to go that route with such a strong actor. Um, and it just wasn't interesting at all. I kind
yeah,
of hated the whole omnipotency planet,
yeah,
omnipotent city. Um, I thought that was, I don't know. I kind of was like, what's the point of them coming here? Like, I get they want the thunder, they wanted to get gods, and then they're like, well, let's add a bunch of exposition so that way we can be like the thunderbolt's super powerful,
but
but
why?
they didn't really show the thunderbolt being that powerful. Like it
Yeah,
could
it just
move fast.
yeah, it
Like
seemed
what?
to me it seemed even weaker than his what's it called? Stormbreaker.
Stormbreaker?
It
Yeah.
seemed very weaker,
Yeah.
like because he had the way he had to use it was really weird.
Hmm.
Like it wasn't like a sword, so like you kind of had to like hold it in the middle, but it was short, so it wasn't like a knife.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I just didn't find the Thunderbolt interesting at all.
Hmm. Yeah.
And also like it seemed like Zeus didn't know who Thor was, and I was like, don't you know the son of Odin, like the other
Yeah.
almighty powerful god? Like you would think Zeus would know who he is because his name is
Hmm.
Thor.
The
He's the
God of
god of
Thunder.
thunder. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you would think Zeus, being the god of lightning, would know who he is. But
Hmm.
okay, whatever, whatever.
Yeah, that was. I didn't really like anything that happened on
Yeah.
that planet. Like the Bow God was kind of funny, but that was kind of funny. And then Korg saw his god. That was kind of funny. Oh, when
When
Korg,
did Thor start killing people though? That was my thing. That was my biggest thing. I was like, oh snap, he killed him. What?
yeah, he just straight up killed
Just
him. Didn't
murdered
care.
him. Yeah, in
He
front of
killed another
everybody.
god. Killed another
Yeah,
god.
yeah.
Like one of his own, essentially. Um, I don't know.
Even
That
though he
was
was supposedly going on a mission to stop the god killing, he kills the first god he
that's
interacts with.
that was my issue with that
It's just,
scene. I was like,
it's
you
just a
just
bunch of
killed.
hypocrisy.
Yeah, I was
But
like, you killed a
don't worry,
god.
Eric. Don't worry. This is still alive. Gotcha. You like that end credit scene?
Right through the
Gotcha.
heart, right through the heart. I was like, how did he stay? Because he's Zeus, but you showed him being really weak and not powerful at all. Um, I will say, Korg dying got me. when he
Yeah.
didn't die, but I thought he was gonna die. I was like, oh snap! Like
Yeah.
my wife was like, oh, what Korg? And then his face is still alive, and I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Um, so that was kind of funny. Uh, man, I don't know what else to say about this movie, man. I do, but let's see. Shadow Planet was after that, right? Um, again, I don't really see why Thor, if he can shoot lightning out of his fingers, why does he need a weapon half the time? Like he gets roped up and he's like angry, and then he's like, ah, and
Lightning.
it's like you don't explain his powers. Like nobody's ever explained. That's, of course, Marvel has that with a lot of their superheroes. They just don't explain the abilities very well. They haven't done that with Scarlet Witch
I
once.
kept thinking that. I was thinking that throughout the whole movie. I was like, man, he's so OP now. Like, I don't know how you can bring
Well,
anyone to
and he
challenge
seemed
him.
weaker in this movie than he did in Endgame. He did. He seemed
He did.
weaker
He
in
did.
this
He did.
movie than
He
in
did.
Endgame.
He did.
So I didn't really get
Even though he
that.
got super buff. Like, I will say this: Chris Hemsworth is cut. That man looks
Oh yeah,
good.
yeah, it's
Wow.
crazy. Yeah, he was a pretty buff dude.
Yeah.
I was sitting there and I was like, my wife better not be looking at the screen right now with the shirt off and stuff, because I was like, I don't
He was
appreciate that.
sliced, man. He worked hard for this movie. He worked really hard. Like,
I think he said this is the biggest he's been.
yeah, I've never seen him look that shredded. Like, he was like, was
Hmm.
just like diced.
Like I didn't know you had muscles up there, like
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
in that area. Yeah, he did look really good. He did a good job. Um, what happened after that? Oh yeah, then he takes. Oh, I this happened earlier, and I wanted to make a note of it. I don't even know why Lady Sif was in this movie. What is she doing in this movie? Get her butt out of this movie.
Oh man, I didn't even know she was still alive until I had watched the YouTube video. Like literally a day before I watched the YouTube video where they were like, Lady Sif wasn't in Ragnarok. I was like, she wasn't? I was like, oh
Nope,
yeah, she
she
wasn't in
wasn't.
Ragnarok. Because there was some sort of scheduling conflict when Ragnarok was
Mhm,
being I guess filmed or whatever, that she couldn't make it and so they didn't
mhm.
kill her. But
She's just on this random planet.
with her arm chopped off. And then
Yeah,
they made a joke about it because she thought she was going to Valhalla, but she wasn't. She has to die in the battle. And she was still very much alive.
yeah, that was yeah. Oh my gosh. I loved her character. I've always liked her character. I've always liked her character in the Warriors 3. So when they said this person died, this person died. Oh, who's that guy? I don't know. He died. You remember that at the beginning of the movie?
Oh yeah.
They're recapping and they're just
Yeah.
like they go through all those three people,
So
those three
disrespectful.
characters, and it's like, ah, who's that? We don't know. Like, and it's like they're literally crapping on the previous movies,
Yeah.
and it
Well,
was just like,
I think a lot of that had to do with people's perception of the Warriors 3 in the second Thor
mhm,
movie. I think a
mhm,
lot of people were like, "I don't like them. Can we please like do away with them?" And because
yeah,
I think a lot of it was like they were poorly written in that movie. They
yeah.
didn't really have much to do either.
That's
So
probably fair. I haven't watched the second one in a long time. I need to rewatch it. I liked them a lot in the first movie. I think
yeah,
the first movie they're
I thought they were
great.
fine in the first movie.
Yeah. I wanted more. That was something I always didn't like about the second movie. Is I kind of would have wanted a story more circled around them and Thor versus what we got.
Yeah,
Um,
but they
but
died. They died. They died. They died protecting Asgard. So you would think Korg wouldn't make a joke about that. Like you
well,
think he would be a little bit more respectful for the
yeah,
people
well
who gave their lives for Asgard.
the director doesn't like those characters.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Clearly, I mean,
This is not about. This is not anymore a story. This is now the director,
mhm,
correct, like himself taking shots at, or the writers themselves taking shots at
yeah.
the.
Which he wrote the movie, by the way.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he was a
Oh,
writer as well. So
interesting.
yeah. um, yeah. So I hated that, and whatever. Sif had no business being in this movie. There was no reason for her to be in this movie. Like she's in two scenes. One, she's training people. I felt bad for Jamie Alexander. I was like, girl, you're way too talented to be wasting your time in this movie. Like
With one arm.
with one arm, like they did her so dirty. They did her so dirty. Like it was so
And
bad.
we didn't even
I
get to see her fight. That was the worst part about it, was we didn't
no.
even get to see her. At least I at least would have rather seen her lose.
She was a reason for Thor to go where he went. That's all she was. She was just a really horribly used plot device. Like,
Yeah.
oh, she's here. Well, he's gonna go see Sif. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in years.
Joke
Literally, like
time. Joke
he has
time.
he hasn't seen her as long as he's seen Jane.
Yeah.
It's been the same amount of time since he's seen her.
Unless there was some like in between stuff that we didn't get to see on film.
Well, there's been a lot of that in this movie. Um,
Because of the implications, of course.
well, let's skip ahead unless we think about something else. Let's go ahead and talk about the ending of the movie. What did you think of the final battle?
It was lame. I mean, I will say I found it funny with the kids all getting the power of Thor. I thought it was kind of reckless of Thor. Thought it was pretty
It
reckless
was
of him.
funny. It was
Yeah,
funny.
it was funny with the especially the girl with the little bunny. That was hilarious. I mean, I'm sure they knew that was gonna be funny. So
Yeah,
I'm
my
not
wife
gonna.
was looking for that. She was like, "Where's the kid with the bunny? I want to see it." And then she thought that was so funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I did think that was pretty reckless of Thor to give them powers in the first place and not just take them immediately home because
Hmm.
he has well he didn't have Stonebreaker, did he? How did he get there?
Um. Oh, he got there because the lightning bolt can suddenly travel,
Okay, yeah, 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 yeah.
which was
Um,
never explained.
never explained. Yeah, yeah.
He just is like, okay, and then he leaves, and you're like, why can a lightning bolt travel? And it's like, cause it can. Like they don't. They never
Well,
really.
we need Thor to get to the final battle,
Yeah.
so the script says he's supposed to go to the final battle. So
Yeah. Oh my
however he gets
gosh.
there, whatever.
Dude, what's going on with MCU writing? It used to be way better. You know what I mean? Like it is legitimately a writing issue at this point. It's just these characters are written so badly. Um yeah, I didn't like so this is what I mean about destroying the character. Um Not only did they remove like who the character has been through 3 movies, I would argue in Ragnarok he's more like Thor in Ragnarok than he is this movie. This movie, he's just like
Mhm.
somebody totally different. Like, I think Ragnarok is as far as I would want them to be to making Thor comedy. That's
Mm.
probably the furthest I'd want it to go. Because at least there's. I thought the best version of Thor that we've gotten was in Infinity War. That was the best version of Thor. I loved him in Infinity War. I thought he was great. Um, he had a lot of emotion and a lot of strength at the same time. Uh,
And there was a little bit of comedy sprinkled in. It wasn't
and
like
there's yeah,
he's a joke. It was like, okay, you
hmm
know, yeah,
he's making jokes.
yeah, he's making jokes. Yeah.
Um, and so in this movie, he's just like the butt of everybody's jokes. So they take his personality and just tear it down. Not only that, they literally give his power, what makes him special, to everyone. Everyone, like
What was the enchantment? How did he do that? That's what I couldn't understand because
be,
he
well,
whispers to the lightning bolt, right? And then he like sprays the kid with the lightning. I'm like, how does that? Is that how the power of Thor works? Like he can just like bequeath it to anyone?
I don't think that's how it works. They're like he was like get an object, and they all grab an object, and then he just is supposed to have imbued the objects with whoever carries them to be the power of Thor. But it's like that does excuse me, that power has never been shown that he can do it. Like I guess if you want to say it's equal to what he did with Jane, but we've already established why that's a crappy reason. You know, like why that doesn't make any
Well, my
sense.
question is, why doesn't he do that to Valkyrie then?
I
Like
don't know
if he
why
could
does
just give anyone
why
his
doesn't he just
powers,
make
Valkyrie is
everybody
the king.
super
Yeah,
powerful?
yeah.
Yeah.
Why are all Asgardians walking around like Thor? Because he even had to put a limit on their power by saying
Hmm.
temporarily, even though temporarily isn't really a specific time period. So
Hmm.
it could have been like 6 months temporarily, and then
Hmm.
5 years could be
Well,
temporarily.
and the whole thing that made Thor special, if you go all the way back to the first movie, is that he's worthy, right? That's what
Yeah,
makes him. Now, other people can be worthy, but worthy is unique company. That's not like just everybody, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so all those
Ultron
kids,
and Avengers Ultron. That's what we see in Avengers Ultron. Is that not everybody, even Captain America, even though he like moves a smidge, wasn't.
mhm,
Or maybe he was worthy. He just didn't pick it up all the way.
yeah, that's kind of
But
the running thing, but
yeah,
yeah. But still, I mean,
but still,
still,
everyone else tries, and none of them can pick it up because none of them are worthy. Even Iron Man was like couldn't pick it up.
yeah. So it was just the idea to like give that to everybody. I'm like, okay, who is this character? What is this character? Because you took away his physical ability, then you also took away his spiritual and emotional personhood as well of who he was. That's been created over more than 3 movies, but like all the Avengers movies and his own movies. You took all that away. I'm not the only person who's saying this either. I watched a couple reviews after the movie. A lot of other people agreed with me because I was just like, man, I was like who matter? Anybody can be Thor. Anybody can be Thor. Like, why is it even his name? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why is he special? Why
Yeah.
is he special? Even Jane has it. She comes in and she's like, he calls her Lady Thor, and she goes, "It's the mighty Thor," and it's like, okay, well, like, why is he even in this? Why is there even movies about him? Like, there's nothing special and unique about this character anymore.
No, yeah.
Um, and I hated that, and I also hated that she said that. You know, like that was really stupid. Or it's Dr. Jane Foster, and I was like, why are you saying Dr. Jane Foster? I don't know. Then she said, "Eat my hammer," which
Eat
sounded
my hammer.
weird
I will
and
say I like the moment though.
innuendo-ish.
The moment felt good to me. Like when she like actually does it, the eat
Yeah,
my
it felt
hammer
better than
thing.
the Captain Marvel when she slammed the hammer down. Yeah, it was better than that Captain Marvel scene. She fights the bad guy at the end. Oh man, that was so anticlimactic. um, yeah. Do you have anything else to say about that? That whole
uh
thing.
no, my wife whispered to me before at like towards the beginning of the movie, she's like, Jane's gonna die. And I was like, no way. I was like, there's no way she's gonna die. There's no way that
Hmm.
Natalie Portman came back to sign on for one movie. Like
Hmm.
I thought Natalie Portman was thinking she was gonna be the future Thor. And that's what I was thinking.
I was too. I was too.
So I was actually very surprised when she ended up actually dying. I was like, "Oh no, they're gonna like use a wish to save her or something like that." And no,
Yeah.
she actually died.
I didn't catch that. My wife told me I didn't catch this because there's so much exposition in this movie. Like there's it's constant. So like it's easy to miss stuff because like people are just talking and like they're like instead of showing you the character's motivation, they're just like this is his motivation,
Yeah,
you know. Um and so something my what Gore is trying to get to eternity so that way he can wish his daughter like back to life, right? That was the main.
yeah. I don't think that was his initial idea because that's what I told my wife that I was like, wouldn't he just wish for his daughter back? But then he doesn't wish
Oh,
for her back
he
until
wants to kill all
yeah,
gods,
he wants to
right?
kill the gods, but he doesn't wish for her back until like Thor gives him the idea. Thor and Jane give him the idea. Hey, why don't you bring your daughter back? You can do
Yeah.
anything, and we'll take care of her. And he's just like, you guys seem like good people. I'll leave you guys my daughter in your hands. I was like, "What?"
He's never been shown a reason to trust Thor,
Yeah, he
and
hates
then
all gods.
he hates all gods, but then he just like, here's my daughter,
Take care of her.
take
That's
care
also
of
like
her.
his last words were,
Don't.
right?
Yeah. What if she gets turned into a god? You know what I mean? Like, um,
Well, she is now.
well, and I didn't pick this up, but I was like, why doesn't Thor wish her back to life? And my wife was like, it's only the first person who finds it, and
Yeah.
I was like, it is, and she was like, yeah. I was like, when did they say that? She was like, they said it earlier, and I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was like, I've been watching this whole time. I didn't hear that. Like,
It was the exposition dumped by Zeus. He said the first
yeah.
first to find the guy, yeah.
Oh, that's probably why, because
Yeah.
I couldn't understand what he was saying. Um, so that was weird. And then yes, at the end of the movie, Gore gives his daughter to Thor, which doesn't make any sense. Also, I don't know why he would want. He's never been shown to want a child, and he's never been shown to need a child. There's
Yeah.
never been like an empty, like a hole that needs to be filled in,
Yeah.
by being a parent. The only hint we ever get at Thor being a dad is where Korg goes, "I think Thor would make a good dad," and then that's it.
Yeah.
That's all
Yeah.
he says. Like that's all. That's all he says. Is,
That's
"I
all he
think Thor
ever
would
said,
make."
yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, yeah, he probably would be one day. And then I thought of a whole great movie that could be made about that. But so that doesn't make any sense. And then apparently the girl's name is Love. Did you catch that? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did. I did hear that. I was like, "Oh."
That's cheesy.
So the reason why the
Cringy.
movie is called Love and Thunder is because at the very end of the movie, we meet Love,
Mhm.
and obviously he's the god of thunder. So
Mhm.
Love and Thunder, and her
Love and
name comes
Thunder.
first, even though she was in the movie for like all of 3 minutes.
Mhm. She also carries Stormbreaker.
Yeah, which also didn't make any sense. But apparently she is the thing that was wished, right? So like she becomes that thing, that god or whatever. So she has powers now, is what Thor says at the end, or Korg says at the end.
I don't know. I guess the exposition, man. The exposition, like it's too much. It's too much. But yeah, I didn't like that. What? So I said I'd talk about it at the end of the video. So a better track for Thor in this movie is him learning how to become like his father, like that, because he's struggled with that ever since the first movie. He thought he was ready to be king. He thought he was
Yeah,
ready to be Odin, and then he realized, he humbled himself and he realized, I'm not ready to be this person. Then he struggled with the idea of whether he's worthy or not to even rule Asgard. Then he struggled with the fact, am I even worthy enough to be able to carry Mjolnir? Am I even worthy anymore? And then he finds out he is. And then what would have happened from there is a slow progression back to the confidence that he has, but so it's like a teardown of the character, but now we're building him back to being able to be not only more powerful, but being able to be king, being able to be the new Odin. Like, and then from there, that opens up a yearning for children, right? So he could still have a child at the end of the story. But what would
yeah.
happen is he would have the understanding of how to rule a people, how to be more like my father Odin. And that's the thing, is like, whenever he turned down the kingship, he's technically been leading the people without the title of a king for a while now. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
so frustrating because it's like, just be the king. Like, it's obviously better in your hands, but you're
Yeah.
so scared to take on that responsibility that you choose to not, like, do that. So, um, I don't know. That could have been a much better story to me. That would have been more heartfelt, especially if you brought Anthony Hopkins in. They killed Anthony Hopkins off way too quickly. I
Yeah.
hated that, because they just didn't use Odin. That's just,
Yeah.
they just barely used him. In the first movie, he's asleep for half of the movie, because he's in the Odin sleep. In the second movie, I don't even remember what was going on. He wasn't
It
in
was a
that
lot of his
movie very
mom. I
much.
think it was a
Yeah,
lot
it
of his
was a
mom.
lot of his mom. So, and then in the third movie, he dies. You know, so, or goes off to Valhalla. So, anyways, what are your final thoughts on the ending of the movie?
I didn't like it much. I didn't think it made a lot of sense. I was fine with like I wasn't even like too upset with Jane coming back and like
Mm-mm.
doing most of the work with beating the bad
Mm-hmm.
guy or whatever. Um, I
Mm-hmm.
just didn't like because it felt very hypocritical to me that the guy who was wanting to go and kill all gods would come to a god and wish for all gods to be
Mm-hmm.
dead.
I
So
agree.
I was like, that's super hypocritical of him. If he's now, if he
Mm-hmm.
had, what would have been really cool is if he had gotten to the final wish boss, or whatever, and killed him. That would have been cool. That would have been like, oh, he's like really motivated to like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna exterminate all the gods.
You're writing a
Um,
good villain. I would watch that movie.
uh, I I didn't like the final conversation that Thor and Jane have with him because I didn't feel like it made any sense.
Mm-hmm.
They were basically like, "Just give us your daughter and we'll take care of her." And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "Just met you guys the other day, but that sounds like a plan. I wish for my daughter back. Please take care of her." And
Mm-hmm.
he just trusts that they're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't like any of the end credit scenes really. I mean, I guess seeing Idris again was nice, but
Yeah, but what's the point?
I didn't. I didn't understand why she got into Valhalla. I mean, she was Thor for like what, a couple weeks. So does that make her
Yeah,
now worthy of Valhalla? She's not an Asgardian, so that's like that doesn't make any sense to me. Does that mean
I
everyone goes
yeah.
to Valhalla just like as long as you die in battle?
I'll be honest, like, I've been so confused with the eschatology of Marvel, which is weird to say that they have like eschatology, but like, I'm like, how does heaven work? And it seems like there's all unique heavens based upon your people. That's kind of like what it seems like. I've
Yeah,
never seen what Earth's heaven is like, but like, they're like, like Black Panther, right? They go to the heavenly place where there's like, with
Panthers
their,
roaming around and stuff like that.
yeah, with their like god, their panther god, and then like in Moon Knight he goes to the Egyptian
Oh
gods, and
yeah,
then
wow, you're right. We have had a lot of eschatology in the Marvel
Yeah,
series. I
if
didn't
I'm
even
using the
realize
right
that.
word, I believe that's the right word is
Yeah.
eschatology. But yeah, and then in this movie, he goes to Valhalla, which just so happens to look exactly like
Like
Asgard.
Asgard. Yeah.
I was just like, what is this? Anyways,
I'm not
man.
saying Jane isn't a good person and that she doesn't deserve Valhalla. I just don't understand how
Mhm,
you get in. Because I thought it was like you
mhm.
have to be an Asgardian one, and
Die in battle.
you have to die in battle too. She's not
Mhm.
Asgardian, and she didn't really die in battle. She died because of cancer.
Yeah.
So that doesn't feel like the same thing to me.
Yeah. I
How is she
agree.
worthy of Valhalla? I
I don't
mean,
know.
again, we're asking these questions because of the
Also,
implications.
I don't know if are we gonna have another movie where Thor goes to Valhalla to like get her back? Like, is that what's?
That's what it seemed like the significance of the scene was. Like, hey, this actually is a place. It's not like you
Mhm.
know just what they believe. This
Yeah.
actually is a place because you remember at the beginning of the movie, the guy goes, "There is no afterlife, or whatever,"
Mhm.
which is weird that he's a god and he doesn't know about Valhalla or that he doesn't
Yeah.
know about another afterlife. That's kind of weird to me,
Mhm.
but whatever. Okay.
It would be nice if they would explain the tiers and the logic behind that. But yeah, it's just yeah, it's just a weird. I don't know, man. It was the movie has so much. I gave up watching this movie. Like I just had I was so disappointed. I love the character of Thor. Like I really do. And so many people like if you want to know who the character is, like go read the comics. Like his sense of humor is that he has no self-awareness. That's what he is. Like he's used to being a god and he's used to being regal. And so when people like when he says something and people laugh at him, he's like, "Why are you laughing? Like I'm so confused." You know, like he's the type of guy to jump into an automobile and then he'd be like, "Oh, look at this steed." And then he would be like, he would be like onward, and then they would like drive off, like that's how he's always been. And so they've tried to like I don't know, they've just really dumbed it. He seemed like a dumb jock in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
That's kind of all he was, and
Yeah.
that's not a good
A
character for him.
beefcake. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a good look for him. And I would say people who like this movie, they just don't like the traditional Thor. That's all. They don't actually like the character of Thor. They like Chris Hemsworth
Yeah.
as a Norse god. Like
As
that's
a
what they like.
beefcake. As a
Yeah.
beefcake. What did you think about Cork's dads? That was such a weird thing to throw in.
Man,
It felt very much like America Chavez, where it was like she has two moms. And it was like,
yeah.
uh,
My wife
okay.
my wife was like, that's really weird that they just threw that in there. And then also there was the part with uh
Korg
the
at the end.
the dolphins,
Oh
the
yeah,
polyamorous
they
dolphins as
polyamorous
well.
dolphins who mate for life and groups of
Yeah.
6 or something like that.
Yeah, that was really weird. Hold on just a second. What's up, babe? Huh? Okay. I'm sorry. We're late. Yeah, you're right. Mm. Can you put her to bed too? But if she plays with her thing, can you? All right, that's what she said. Yeah. Help me.
Eric, blink twice if you need help.
Well, yeah. What do you want me to do tonight? Yeah, I'll see what I can do. If it's not too late, I'll do it. Okay. In the bathroom. Okay.
Should I be writing this down?
I love you too. Your hotness. Yes, I love you. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yes, I love you.
Oh,
I know. You told me. You guys should get a cat.
no, I keep telling my wife no.
Yeah, it's fun. Um. Anyways, where we're at. What were we talking about? Oh, the
Or,
polyamorous.
yeah,
Yeah. So to continue, I think it was weird that they put a lot of like, just different sexualities in here, which was really weird. Like it was supposed to go with the theme of love, which I didn't understand in the movie.
Yeah, it didn't
That
seem like it really had a relation, but because of the implication, it did.
yeah, can you imagine if this was just a movie about Thor and Gore the God Butcher? Like
And
just
Jane
them
having
two.
cancer?
Not even that. Like just
Oh,
Thor
just
and Gore the God Butcher. You know what I
that'd be an
mean?
interesting movie, yeah.
That would have been a lot more interesting, I
Or
think.
even if the movie had just been about Jane having cancer and being,
Yeah.
She Thor or, the Mighty Thor,
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be interesting too.
That's the villain is the cancer, you know. Cuz they could have focused on that. I mean, that would have been fine. I always thought when I heard about her character in the comics a while back, I thought the premise was interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't really like that she was just like another Thor because I do. This is one of those scenarios where I was like, yeah, it kind of feels like it cheapens the original character. It makes him, which it did later on in the movie, right? Like, because everybody had the power of Thor, so it was like, wow, he really feels like not special at all. So, it really did feel that way. But with her, I was like, but I do like that. The whole idea is that the more she becomes Thor, like her cancer spreads more, so she has to stay Thor for a really long time. That's interesting. Like I would have liked it, but they didn't really dive into it that much, and it wasn't that sad because she's been out of the series for so long. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
Um.
and I feel like if it had been Pepper Potts, I think I would have felt a little bit more like, "Oh,
Yeah.
snap,
Yeah.
Pepper, no."
Yeah.
But
Definitely. I mean, I felt for Pepper in Endgame. When
yeah,
Tony dies, it's like super sad. Um. But anyways, I was kind of surprised that she died as well. But I don't know if she's going to come back for more movies or not. Oh, what did you think of Hercules? Really?
I was, like, booing when Russell Crowe came back on screen, I was like, "Boo! I hate you. Get off my screen."
I thought his outfit looked really stupid. What's funny is I know so that character is from the show that I've been trying to tell you to watch, which is the Apple TV Plus show. Crap, I can never remember the name of Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso. So he's from the show Ted Lasso, and he's a football player or soccer player, and he's one of like the top ones, and he's really his personality in that show is just like he's always angry and he talks down here all the time and he's British and he's just so angry and he has a low gruffy voice and this is how he talks the whole entire show and it's like he just that's how he talks like that's his only it doesn't really change very much and so when I heard him as Hercules my wife and I just burst out laughing and I was like what is this man doing as Hercules? Like he's not Hercules. Like why is he? And so I guess that's who they picked for the role. And I was just like, oh my gosh, why is this? Why is
So
this
are we getting a
happening?
Thor 5? Is that what's
It
happening, or
said
is he
Thor
gonna
will return. It said Thor will return.
so this is my thing, like, so the next movie gonna be about Hercules, or because I'm assuming because Hercules obviously has a big relationship with She-Hulk. So I was
And
assuming maybe this
Avengers,
was setting up for him to be in She-Hulk,
maybe.
but it seemed like the Zeus wanted him to come in, like, make people fear the gods, so I'm like, so maybe he comes and I had this question, I know
Hmm.
it might be a little unfair, but where were all these gods during Thanos' invasion of Earth and, like, the universe?
Yeah.
Like, we didn't even get, like, a hint of yeah, we just kinda ignored them during the Thanos thing, even though, like, that would've wiped out, like, half the population of the world of, people who worship us and stuff like that.
I guess the question is like, what universe do they live in? And they don't explain that, right? Because Thanos is a threat to our universe as far as like Earth's universe,
Yeah.
but are they in a different realm or a different dimension? Like, because obviously the Bifrost, it seems to travel through space and time. So, it doesn't, they don't really explain it. And
I
so,
guess so, yeah.
you know,
But so when Thanos snaps, his thing is for, like, all creatures, right?
mhm,
Even the birds? And I was
I think
thinking, like,
so.
even the, like plants,
I
half of
thought it. I
everything.
thought it was human life. I thought it because it was resources was the problem, right? So I don't know why he
Yeah,
split the resources in half. I think he
that's
just
fair.
did the
That's fair.
humans
And
in
animals,
the
right?
MCU. I don't know about animals. I don't know.
Someone said that like you could hear the birds die down after his snap
That might be true. I don't know.
because the birds eat the resources too, and the animals do too. So
That's true,
that
but
would
they're
make sense.
also resources themselves, right?
Yeah.
Or food resources. It depends. It depends how you look at it. You
I don't
know,
know. Maybe I'm getting a little bit too technical.
probably.
I just want to know where these people were. Like, if you're gonna show up, give me an
Mhm,
excuse for why you weren't there. This is literally the biggest threat our
mhm,
universe has ever faced. Why were you not
mhm.
there? Like, why was
See,
Hercules not there to defend Earth? Like,
and
Zeus
and
is
s-
a Earth god, right?
and yeah, well, and that reasoning is fine to be written as a line because you can't just show me all the time where everybody's at, right? That
Yeah.
I would expect in some line of dialogue or a conversation. Like maybe we heard if they're gods, right? It seems like what they've been doing really well in this movie is hiding. So maybe just say that they hid. Like that would be accurate to their characters, right? Just say that they hid while
Yeah.
Thanos, we flew to our world here, which sits outside of space and time. Just say something like that. Okay, cool. That at least makes sense, and it's really easy to explain.
Yeah.
Um, but anyways, that's something I don't need a whole scene for. What I do need a scene for, that if you want me to have an emotional relationship to, is show me Jane finding out she had cancer. Show me why she's worthy. These are all important plot points to this movie we're trying to tell. Where they were, events outside of this movie, as far as like how it connects to other movies, aren't as important. So I'll take like a throwaway line for that,
Yeah.
or a short scene for that. But for the movie as a whole, I need more than just like implications constantly.
Mhm.
So I just felt like I had to explain myself a little bit on that, because I could see people being like, well, you don't like exposition for this. And it's like, well, I don't want exposition for the movie I'm watching constantly. But if you're talking about like how it connects to Infinity War, yeah, just give me a line of dialogue or a small scene and I'm fine.
Yeah.
Because that's not as important to what's going on in this movie. Um, I don't know, man. So what did you think? So you liked which movie did you like better? Because we both didn't like the last two movies. Um, what
Doctor
which
Strange.
movie you liked? Doctor Strange better?
Yeah, by far. I mean, it
Hmm.
was just I had more fun watching Doctor Strange. I liked the Sam Raimi-ness of it all. I liked
Hmm.
some of the fight scenes were interesting. Like I still think the note battle he has with the evil Doctor Strange is fun.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I like Doctor Strange. It was more fun.
Mm. Yeah, I think this is my issue. So I feel like Doctor Strange hurt me more because I had higher expectations for it. And they were pretty low, but I had higher expectations for Doctor Strange, whereas Thor, I had pretty low expectations and it still didn't really meet them, but I wasn't expecting much from this movie.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting something that was going to explain where the Marvel universe is going from here. So for
Okay.
that, I'd probably say I'd prefer watching Thor over the Multiverse of Madness, but they're about the same for me. Multiverse of Madness might be just a slightly better movie, but both of them I thought were slogs. I thought they were both boring. Thought the writing was bad for both. A lot of just random things happening that nobody explains. Um, and I we'll talk about this in another video, but I've seen a lot of people say that, well, this is Marvel's Phase 1. So this is just like Marvel's Phase 1. Okay, they're
No, no,
they're
it's not.
rebuilding,
No, it's
and
not.
I have a very strong argument against that, I think. But we'll talk about that another time. But Jonathan, anything else you want to say about this movie before we go?
No, I totally agree with you. This is a Disney Plus watch. Wait for it to come out on
Mhm.
Disney Plus, which shouldn't be soon because this movie is bombing or it's probably going to bomb in the theaters, and they're going to get it out of there real quickly. So it'll be on Disney Plus before you can blink. Like Doctor Strange got on Disney Plus so fast, I was like,
It's like within
wow,
2 months, yeah.
yeah. I was like, wow, that was really fast. I didn't even know the
Mhm.
DVD came out yet. But
Yeah.
Yeah, wait for this to come out on Disney Plus. If you have a Disney Plus subscription. And if you
Mhm.
don't have a Disney Plus subscription, don't buy a Disney Plus subscription for this movie. Go watch it with someone else.
Borrow your friend's Disney Plus subscription.
Yeah, this movie is not worth even a $20 for the DVD cover that you would
Mm,
spend on it.
Wait for them Black Friday Blu-ray sales. Next time. Anyways, well, I think that's going to be it. Final scores one more time. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10.
I'm gonna stick with
Jonathan's
my 4.1.
4
4.1.
point.
4.1 kids in cages. Hashtag Joe Biden. No, sorry. Hashtag Barack Obama.
Oh my gosh.
Who put the kids in cages, Joe? Who
Who
put the
built
kids
the
in
cages,
cages?
Joe? Who built the cages? Anyways.
That should have been my name. That should have been my name. Dang, I missed it. That was a golden opportunity.
What? Who built the cages?
Who built the cages, Joe?
Okay. Well, on that note, we'll see you guys next time on Just Visiting. Bye bye.